diet is the number one piece of that equation. Obviously, the diet is extremely important. People think that they can go in and train hard, and that's what's going to get them what they want. That doesn't. You get nothing with that. You know, training by itself, it's fun, but it's not going to get you what you want.
Did you think you could go into the gym and outwork everybody else, and that's what was going to make you a champion? Or did you never do that?
And so if you're not eating on the days off, it's like, yeah, when I coach people, they're like, oh, well, what do I do on a day off? I said, you do the same damn thing. I said, that's exactly where the body's healing, you know?
Our friend here that's coming on is a monster. He's going to come up and train with me. He's going to crush me. Yeah, she's just a freaking monster. I'm going to be running out of the gym for the first time in my life. But the cool thing is he's going to give you the secret. I know you guys keep asking about this, the secret. And I'm hoping he's going to give it to us today. And so you guys will be able to do exactly what we've been doing and enjoy this. So please bring on the mystery guest. Shall we? If the screen's big enough for this. Oh my gosh. Jeez Louise. Unmute your volume, my king.
There we go. Is that better?
That is better. Turn your camera sideways because they ain't getting this.
There we go, baby. There we go. Let me get that adjusted a little bit.
You want to see what shoulders look like?
And triceps.
The triceps, and forearms, and traps.
Shit. Come on, man.
And he's got no pants on right now.
I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut in your world. What are you talking about, brother? Shit.
You need to be here then, because I got a couple nuts over here. Hey,
good to see you, brother.
First of all, thanks for doing this today. I messaged you this morning. I think it was 0600 or something like that. And I know that you're already up like me.
Yeah.
We're sick that way. I couldn't figure this out. And so I wanted to come to you. These guys keep going, hey, what's the trick? What's the secret? And so I said, I keep saying the shit that I say, which goes nowhere. And so could you just help us out here? This will probably be the shortest podcast in history. Give them the secret. And what it is, and that way everybody can do what you've done, I've done, and like Stan. What is it? What's the secret?
Well, I mean, first off, it's everybody thinks there's a secret, and the secret is it's not some small little detail that everybody's missing. It's the fact that number one, you've got to commit to your process. The diet is the number one piece of that equation. Obviously, the diet is extremely important. People think that they can go in and train hard, and that's what's going to get them what they want. That doesn't. You get nothing with that. You know. I mean, granted, it's fun to train. Don't be wrong. I love to train. Everybody loves to train. That's the easy part. That's the fun stuff. It's committing to the diet the other 18 hours a day. That's the work. So, number one, the diet. And then, of course, number two is the consistency, and that's where people say, "Oh yeah, I've been training for years." Well, what's your diet look like for as many years as you've been training? Because, you know, it's like if we're in the woods and we're trying to make a campfire and we're we're rubbing and, you know, we got sticks that we're rubbing together. You know, if we got a rock and sticks, okay, whatever two things. I've never built a fire in the woods, so I'm kind of reaching here. Whatever two.
I love the metaphor though.
Yeah, you have to have both of the. You got to have two pieces of wood. You got to have two sticks. You got to have a stick and a stone or whatever it takes. The training by itself, it's fun, but it's not going to get you what you want.
Can I add to that? Just because it was a beautiful metaphor, I think if you give most people a stick and a stone, they still can't start the fire.
Yeah.
But I mean, you and I know that there's no freaking trick. There's no one thing. And you started off with the one thing that said diet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, diet is the one thing. I guess it should say that everybody thinks there's some button to push. That button is you got to push that all day long for 18 hours, and you're eating 6 to 8 times a day. You know.
Before you keep going, because you have a freaking plethora of knowledge, and I want to suck this down for these listeners and explain the little things that they may miss on this stuff. And so he said diet, and so okay. But what is the diet? And then for you, what is the diet for the individual that's doing it? And then it's got to be a day in and day out thing, like you're saying. And you did say something.
Yeah, I mean, there.
And I know we were the same. How long did you think? How old were you? Did you think you could go into the gym and outwork everybody else, and that's what was going to make you a champion? Or did you never do that?
Well, I mean, see the difference between you and I, brother. I'm sorry, can you hear me clearly? I got a little choppy there. I want to make sure you can still hear me good. Perfect. So the difference between you and the difference between you and I is that you were like a fucking superhero from the time you were young. I was this fat little boy that, shit, if you covered up my face, you couldn't tell if I was a boy or a girl when you looked at my upper body because I had tits that folded over like a, So, in the beginning, without the knowledge, people are going to the gym, they're working hard, they think they can get somewhere. And for like me, the fat little boy that was lazy, going to the gym was definitely helping. But when you turn the corner to actually want to really, really get somewhere in terms of putting on some muscle and getting strong, once you discover the diet, it changes everything. For me, it came through a simple, I was eating tons of bread, thinking bread was going to do it. I was eating loaves of wheat bread. And it was pretty silly, but at the time, that's what I
Wonder Bread.
Work.
Don't lie to me. It was Wonder Bread, wasn't it? You guys don't even know about Wonder Bread.
And so basically, my mom ran out of bread one day. So I'm looking at the cupboard and there's a lot of tuna fish. In my mind, I was one track. I'm going to eat bread. I'm going to eat something else. So I just started eating tons of tuna fish. And in 2 days, I noticed, whoa, I feel really different in the gym. And I realized that I followed that lead with tuna. And all I was just at the time was just, okay, I don't care what it is. I just come back the next day and I feel like I'm stronger than it was before. And that's all we live for. We want to know that we go back and we're making progress. So that was my discovery of protein. So pretty much from that moment forward.
How old were you?
I was about 19, 20 maybe. I was in college. And so that was the beginning of my protein. And then since then, so we're talking, I just turned 50. So we're talking 31 years. I've consumed a minimum of 4 pounds of flesh, whether it be chicken, beef, fish per day. It's more like, 5 to 6 once I got a little older and heavier. But protein for me is that thing that completes the equation, So, but the thing about it, you could talk to anybody that's done even half of what you've done, or any of the pro bodybuilders, and I'll say the same thing. You got to commit to having that high level of protein day in and day out, because even when you're not training, you're recovering. The days off, that's where you're growing. And so if you're not eating on the days off, it's like, when I coach people, they're like, oh, well, what do I do on a day off? I said, you do the same damn thing. I said, that's exactly where the body's healing, But people's idea.
Don't go past that. Stay there for a second. Stay. Because this new age shit is messing this up. This new age come up with this kind of snowflake mentality of babying people is destroying the industry that you and I know to be. You can create a truly longevity life and be something extraordinary by doing basic shit. But now they're going, hey, it's a day off. You're not exercising, so you got to cut back on your food. The one day I'm going to recover, you take my food away? What idiot?
Yeah.
I'd love to know who that idiot is that came up with that concept and why. I know why it clicked, because people, they don't want to do 7 days a week. But whoever did that just destroyed the industry and brought it back down a notch.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, because when it comes down to it, people want, but they don't want to do. And the way I explain to people, say, listen, as soon as you don't want to do something, that's when you better pull up your pants and do it, because that's where the line in the sand is. If you just wanted to do what you wanted, and you never did things that were challenging, you stay. I mean, hell, you might even move backwards. You'd be lucky to stay in the same place. So my thought process is as soon as I don't want to do something, that's when I got to do that's when I got to put my best effort on the table.
Well, that brings me to my next question then. I'm going to assume that during this 30 beyond years of enjoyment of the gym, you've only trained on days you felt good, on days that you were recovered, days that you were happy. You never went in sad. You never went in sick. You never went in when you didn't want to. So how can others do that same thing and never train on hard days? Or am I incorrect on that?
Well, I think what people got to realize is that when you're sad, when you have all these problems, the gym is exactly what you need. Because if there's ever something, I mean, you tell me if you're like I am, but I'm telling you, I don't give a shit what my problem is. I get to go escape for 90 minutes or 2 hours. When I'm done with that, my head is clear. Whatever that problem is, I'm going to whoop the shit out of it as soon as I get done with that training session. So people tend to think, oh, they need this perfect condition to train. No, you don't want perfect conditions. That's what training is unperfect conditions. You know, when I'm in my vacation house in Mexico and it's really hot, like 105, right? I'll put a hat on so it doesn't burn the shit out of my bald head. But I'll go out there and I'll train hard in that. It's talking like borderline. I have to stop at some points because I start getting heat stroke where I'm getting goosebumps all over me because my body's overheating. So I cut it right there. But the idea is, okay, I got to try to get this work in a faster period so I don't overheat. Yeah. I do that to myself on purpose because training needs to be, don't get me wrong. I like a nice temperature controlled room, but not when I'm fucking training. It's got to be brutal. So for all those people that are looking for the perfect conditions to train, you got to rethink that one. Because as soon as you think it's got to be perfect to train, your mind it's like the wrong side of the universe. You got to understand the principle of what training is. Training is not unfortunately now training for most people is, getting dressed up real nice and doing their hair just perfectly, going in, taking some selfies, maybe cracking a little sweat, socializing. No. That for me, that's torture. Yeah. I try to avoid all that. I try to avoid the times, I should say, when that's going to happen because, listen, if people want to do what they want to do, I'm not telling them to stop if that's what they want to do, but I'm there for a different purpose. That's just like yourself. You've got a pretty wicked setup in your own space. I got the same for myself. So there are days when some days I just know I may not be in the right proper mindset to go into a public training facility. So
what do you think I go at 4 a.m? I'm never in the right mindset. I don't want to be around people. I want me and my dog. I'm good. Yeah. So I don't want you to jump over that again, man. There's so much stuff here, and I hope everybody's picking up on this. There isn't perfect training. You're never perfect. And here's the great part about it. Something that you and I, we did this before we got in the magazines. Before we did all that, and we did it for free, and we did it because we loved it. And honestly, I think you're the same as me. Is we did it because we needed it. There was it was part therapy, of us, baby. If we didn't do this battle, it would have been a downhill slide or something. But yeah, there's no easy days, and that is I think Kobe Bryant said it beautifully. It is the 4 a.m. workouts. It is the late workouts. It is nobody writing or watching you do it. That's the journey. It's not the basketball game where he wins. It's the practice and you and me going into the gym and fighting every single day.
Yeah, that's it. The training sessions for me, when I look back, I have great moments in competition. And I of course, I relish those. They're great memories. But the ones that I really find myself going back to try to recreate are those days in training. Because those days in training, the days in the trench, when there's no cameras, when nobody's watching, those are the days that get you what you're looking for. And really what we want to do is we want to take our efforts. We want to get as far forward as we can with every bit of effort that we apply to the process, and basically trying to trying to recreate, training environments and even sets. I mean, think of how many sets you had. It was like straight up like changed. The world slowed down. Nothing hurt anymore. I mean, it's like in my book, I call that jumping into a portal. You get this opportunity to go into a world that's all you want to do is go back. It's like there's no drug on the planet that compare to what we're talking about here, and that's what we're trying to recreate. And what's that?